Hey everybody, welcome to CirdecSongs. If it's your first time here, I hope you enjoy yourself and please like and subscribe after the interview is done. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're a guitar player, then you're pretty much aware with Fender, the biggest guitar manufacturer probably in the world. And if you play a Stratocaster and you've been following Fender's news lately, you're asking, what on God's green earth is Fender doing? The Stratocaster has been Fender's most popular guitar. It's been around since 1954, and it's been wielded by the likes of Buddy Holly, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Adrian Belew, countless others. Now, the guitar has been around for 70 plus years, and this past March, Fender received a court judgment in Germany that has allowed them to issue cease and desist letters to every other guitar manufacturer in the world that has a body style similar to the Stratocaster. The news is staggering. People just don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on. So I got together with some friends and we decided we try to figure out just what's going on. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Guys, it is great to be with you. I appreciate having I think we have a quorum here, which is nice. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves in the order that I see you on my screen. Benjamin, you're up.
I'm Benjamin Gleason. I play in a band called Source. I am a gearaholic. It's been 13 days since my last purchase.
Hi, Benjamin. Coulter?
Love it.
I guess it's been about 4 or 5 weeks since my last purchase, since I just picked up another Strandberg Sarah Longfield model. But no, as I'm Coulter McCorkindale, I am not a professional musician to any degree. I am a regular person, but I am find myself in positions where I can play interesting gigs like Lincoln Center next week. We're playing Glenn Branca's 13th Symphony with an army of 100 guitar players volunteering to learn to spend 2 full days in rehearsals and then play the show on the Friday after. So that's what's going on here next week.
Nice. So for the record, Coulter can play, kids, just so you all understand. Chris, hit me.
Me?
Yeah, that'd be you.
Oh, Chris Siebold. The last thing I purchased actually was a RL Bags acoustic preamp / DI box, which I returned because I thought it sounded like shit. Prior to that, it was a Moog Grandmother, and because I like analog synths, and I've been doing some my own private sort of synth pop sensation down here at the ranch. I'm a guitar player. I've played in a band called Kick the Cat for 25 years. We got some new tracks coming out. Also, I'm part of the Howard Levy 4. We're in the studio recording, and we're going on tour in July. And for the last 12 years, I've been with the Prairie Home Companion with Garrison Keillor.
Oh, wow. I grew up in St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've called him stupid talented today, but he is.
I replaced, it's not replaced, but I was hired after Pat Donahue, who was one of my all-time heroes on the guitar, and so it was a surreal experience. But yeah, I mean, we just played Spokane, Washington last weekend.
Nice.
So
one of my favorite moments was watching you and your band play the whole of Hot Rats, of Zappa's Hot Rats.
Oh yeah. That took forever. I arranged the record for a 7-piece band, and I'll never do anything like that again.
Lessons learned. John, you're up.
Yeah, John Grayson. I am an amateur musician. I've been in a couple of small bands over the years, like everybody. But I am a gear collector, and I was a radio talk show host for 35 years. So nice to have another radio connection with the Garrison Keillor thing.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we're now living in Portugal and trying to put a band together with a bunch of other expats. So
nice.
We'll see how that goes.
I think you got a name already.
Yeah, really. I was
thinking
I was like Patty and the X's, Grant and the Emmys, something along those lines.
I like it. Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Walcott. I'm a schmuck who plays electric guitar in the B-scale bars. And
Hi,
if
Bob.
you know that reference, then we could be friends. I'm also in a King Crimson tribute band called Indiscipline. I play Baloo / Fripp in that band, and yeah,
good on you.
The
man.
last piece of gear I got was a Hughes and Kettner 2-band.
I love it. I'm still sad. I am most definitely an amateur musician. I'm the most amateur one here. I'm I'm the ambitious guy who does everything except practice. And,
Me too.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
20 odd years ago, I had a band called the Sheltering Sky, which we actually put on a CD, which is available on Bandcamp. I'm just saying, it's
No shit.
great music, lousy mix because the mixer didn't know what the hell he was doing. But
No one did 20 years ago, man.
geez, that was the first guitar renaissance between 96 and 2007, and then I took a tiny respite of 15 years, and now I've come back to it. My last piece of gear would be my Boss GX 1000, or is it 100? One of the other. I think it's 100. My multi effects processor, and I love it. It's wonderful. And the Boss Katana before that, which is just a wonderful in-home amp. But today we are here to talk about Fender, and their cease and desist order for
repeat offender
repeat offender for their S-body Stratocaster body guitars. Something that I am baffled about, and I wanted to talk to the rest of the class. I don't see how you can be upset with a Fender body when it's been out since 1954. This is my Schecter. What is it? A C6 Deluxe, and I bought it for three reasons. One, because I wanted a guitar with humbuckers for when I'm feeling my inner a perfect circle. I can tune one string down to D on my Les Paul. That's easy enough, but I have this tuned to like low C and what have you. And I just wanted to tune a guitar and keep it there. So, two, it was affordable. So I think I spent like less than $300 for it. And three, I'm just comfortable with Strat-shaped guitars. I mean, that's what I'm used to. My number one guitar is a Fender. It's an '88 Stratocaster. So I put it to you guys. What the hell is Fender thinking about?
It's got to be just a money grab. Just like they own Jackson, they own Charvel. Like those are the two super Strat brands. Fender Musical Instruments Corporation owns a bunch of brands, and the Eddie Van Halen brand, EVH. Like they're just trying to like, how much else can we just grab or steal, and can we scare companies into maybe capitulating? I can't imagine this would stand up in court, just because like it's too late. The horse is so far out of the barn. Super Strats have been around since the 80s. 40 odd years. You don't get to just like call shenanigans after 40 years of waiting.
Yeah, I've been following the Silver Sky trajectory since the very beginning because I'm a PRS endorsed artist. I play PRS guitars exclusively. I think they're the best guitars in the world. And the thing that sucks about this to me the most is that John Mayer called up the people at Fender and was already frustrated because there isn't like one person that you can talk to at Fender. And so he's like calling people. He's like, who do I talk to? I have this idea for a guitar. I really want to make a really quality guitar that is affordable. Like what a novel concept.
Yeah.
And Fender like basically just didn't even reply to him. And it's like John Mayer. And so somebody gave him the idea to talk to Paul. And Paul is, the owner of PRS, the guy who designed all of PRS's, guitars. And they had a phone call and he was like, yeah, I've got this magic Strat and I really want to take the things that I love about it and like a couple other Strats that I love and turn it into something that like when you buy it, no matter what it is, you take it off the rack and you play it and it sounds like magic. And the problem with Fender, with Strats specifically, is this is John's words, is that 1 in 100 is magic and the rest of them are meh to decent, right?
True.
And that's been the case for a long time because Fender has become this giant company that's more of a brand than like actually a guitar maker, right? And so he comes to Paul and says, I want to do these things and I want to make something that like when somebody who loves my music buys my guitar, it sounds like my guitar. And they did a podcast like I think a year ago, him and Paul, and they took the I think it's called the Frankenstrat or something like this, and it's John's Strat that has all these different mods or whatever, and he like loves this thing, and they play it and they're like, damn, this guitar sounds amazing. And then they just take an SE Silver Sky, which is the Indonesian made. They ship the
same port factor as any other.
So and they just take an SE out of the box. It was just an SE. It wasn't, they never played it before, straight out of the box. And they're like, yeah, it sounds pretty much just as good. And So the problem is he gave Fender the opportunity to do this, and they didn't take it. And now they're like, oh, shoot, these guitars are selling better than ours because they're made way better and they're way better guitars. And the thing that's wholly absurd to me is they have like no foot to stand on, because PRS has been through this before with the Gibson lawsuit in like 2000 whatever. I was
gonna say, yeah.
And so they learned how to avoid, you know, all of the little tricks to avoid getting sued like this. And I'm not entirely sure how, like, I just don't even understand how this is even coming to be, because one, you look at a Silver Sky, it has the signature bevel cut in the second, in the main cut under the on the bottom side of the guitar. No Fender Strat, no Fender has a bevel cut, no other. I mean, that is a signature PRS thing, and it has the signature PRS headstock, which no guitar looks anything like. Schecter is kind of the is a reverse of it, but I think it's also intended to kind of copy it. But yeah, I mean, like, when you put all these things together, it's ridiculous. And along with the fact that both the NF53 and the Miles Johnson signature are basically exact Telecaster bodies, with the same things, with the bevel cut and the signature headstock, but they're not going after those because something with the lawsuit in Germany. So it's a whole mess, and it just shows to me that like Fender's losing a lot of money, and it's kind of like devalues their brand even more than it already has been devalued.
Yeah, well, and you made two great points there, and one of them was the fact that this came from a lawsuit in Germany. So one lawsuit and one judge in Germany now sets the tone for the entire world of guitar makers. How is that even possible? And the other thing
that could
is,
happen here.
yeah, right. But yeah, going back to the Gibson lawsuit era and all of the things that came out of that in the mid 70s, where you don't have to modify them much for them not to count. And so that's what guitar makers have done forever. And the first article that I saw about this mentioned the Silver Skies, mentioned all of the guys who have left Fender, that's my cat, over the years and gone to other S-style guitars. And they mentioned Mark Knopfler, who did the same thing. But what they didn't mention is...
Pensa,
Yeah, but go back to the late 70s, early 80s, and he wasn't exclusively playing Fenders. One of his most famous guitars was the Dream Machine, which was a Schecter. It was a Schecter S-style guitar. So, you know, the whole bit with, this is like closing the barn door after the horses have eaten your children and all of that. Yeah, that makes sense too. But there's just so much to this. It's like, how unlike a Strat does it have to be before it's not covered by the suit? Because if all you're talking about is a guitar with one horn bigger than the other one, then Gibson can't make SGs anymore.
Yeah, true. Very
like
true.
how do you get the calipers out? How do you and this is interesting too, because there's a whole other world of like copies and knockoffs that like they look kind of like Ibanez's, but like mathematically they're slightly off enough that they somehow evade the copyright radar. And there's a lot of that goes on, and there was a lot of that went on in the 70s when Ibanez was a copy company making Les Pauls and Strats that were better than American Les Pauls and Strats. So there's a long history of like someone beating Fender at making higher quality products, and then some type of like synthesis of like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to work with this. We're gonna have set up operations in Japan and make Fenders in Japan, or whatever it is, or Indonesia. You know, there's so many different places companies can save that money.
Gibson did the same similar thing anyways. The Japanese guitar makers started reverse engineering Gibson guitars and making them better than Gibson. And I've actually played one, and it is one of the greatest playing guitars I've ever played. And Gibson did probably the smartest thing, is that they bought the factory and started putting them out under the brand that they were like marketed as, like, but then put by Gibson underneath it. And like, you're never going to do that to PRS. Like, that's like, I really don't think, if that's what they're trying to go for, that's really stupid.
Yeah, they can't do that against an American company. That's just like, there's import brands they can compete with to some degree, but like PRS has kind of got the quality control that probably no other company has really mastered, except maybe Strandberg.
Not at that level. No, and I will argue with you on Strandberg. I sold my Strandberg because it was the biggest piece of garbage I've ever played.
Oh, sorry.
So Kiesel's got some good ones too.
Speaking of Strandberg, I used to work for Washburn, and then
Washburn
I worked underneath. And then I worked underneath a guy who was a luthier, and one thing that I'm pretty sure will not stand in their lawsuit is one thing that's unique across all guitars is the headstock. I mean, that's one thing that like is identifying from one brand to the next.
First thing
So
I
it doesn't
look at.
matter like what body that you use. I mean, at least like most guitar aficionados or luthiers will know that that's what, you know, distinguishes one brand from another is the headstock.
Yeah, like
You know, they even have like what is that? There's like some stuff online that you can go how to like spot a fake Gibson because of like the little fluting at the top of the headstock and stuff like that, you know.
Chipsons.
Chipsons, that's right. Yeah.
Well, so I don't see how any of that could even stand in court because I mean it's really the distinguishing factor is the headstock, and as soon as you make that the distinguishing, it's almost like a copyright in a way.
It is. That's you know, I think that's historically been the dividing line is like they're not letting you do the scroll Fender headstock, but they'll let you do the body. Yeah. And like take a look at this body. Like I ask people this all the time: is this an ESP or is this a Kramer? It's hard to tell because, you know,
it looks like an ESP
Kramer,
to me.
It is, but it's an original Kramer Pro made by ESP in 1989. So it's like it doesn't really, you know, it's hard to tell. Hard to get those calipers out, and it's also Les Paul scale.
I mean, the thing that isn't being mentioned at all, which I think is interesting. Oh, that's a beautiful one. Yeah,
what's that? Signed by Alan Holdsworth.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Is that an Ibanez? Is that the?
That is a. I wish it's Kramer.
Oh, the Kramer.
He did a Kramer. Oh no.
Yeah,
he started with Kramer first, and it was actually exactly looking. Is that the guitar? Did you buy it at auction? Or?
No, I got it a long time ago. But when he's such a humble guy that when I handed it to him, he was worried that he was going to break it, and I said, my playing is going to get 10% better through osmosis just by you touching this. So,
and then he walked away awkwardly.
I don't know if it has, but you know, still waiting for that.
I love that guy. I've gotten to know his daughter, Louise, over the years pretty well. She's darling, and he's the absolute best, according to me. Anyway, what I was going to say was, what nobody's talking about are this is about body shape and all the rest of that bullshit. But what about the sound of the instrument? You know what I mean? So being a bit of a journeyman, I do a lot of sessions. I play a lot of different styles of music, and people hire me to play on the record because I've got one of everything, you know, and they all make really distinct sounds, and they're all known for something. Like, you know, like playing Yardbirds shit with a Gibson just is not going to sound correct, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You
need like 12-string Rickenbackers and Strats, you know. And
go ahead.
You know, Hendrix and all of that. So it's like, for me, a Strat is a tool, you know. I mean, and I think the Mayer guitar in question was the black one that's all fucked up. He's like that what is it? What's his second record?
Bigger Things.
Is it Bigger Things? Something things.
I forget. Something like
He's
that.
posing on the cover, and that guitar does sound amazing. I mean, I like Paul Reed Smith guitars. I kind of came up with the assertion that it was like a, at least initially, sounded like a Les Paul to me. Heavier Things, that's right.
Heavier Things.
You know, because Carlos Santana, he used to, you know, when he started playing Paul Reed Smith's, sounded like a Les Paul to me. I know that they're you know, they do amazing things. My brother is a guitar player. Jeff, he's a great guitar player, and he's got one of those Mayer Paul Reed Smiths. I played it. It plays really fucking great, man. But
I have to say though, they've been around for so long now, and it's so weird to me because when I look at them, as just aesthetically, I think this is an abomination because it's an IPRS headstock on a Strat body, and it's just it's just like two things that don't fit together. But you know, they're the hottest selling thing on Reverb.
Yep,
you know?
That's the part. That's the part that I didn't know what I was playing. It felt really good. But you know,
it sounds amazing. Like, and the dynamic range of the pickups too, in comparison to a Fender, is like incomparable. Like the roll off for the tone knob. Like if you have it at 10, you have like the shiniest, brightest single coils you've ever heard. And if you roll it to 9, it like goes to like warm, like really warm. You roll it to 7 and then you start to actually get that rolled off tone sound, you know, and that was something that John wanted from the very beginning. And like they look strange. The other thing to note is that the headstock is actually reversed. So if you look at the normal PRS headstock, the long end is on the left side, let's say, versus the Silver Skies, it's the other way. The other horn is longer. So I mean, yeah. I think unquestionably they sound incredible, and I think they function. I like your concept of seeing styles of guitars as tools, and I don't think that anybody gets the right to say like, oh, I have a patent on the Phillips head screwdriver, you know, and that's kind of what Strat style guitars have become.
Well, Chris, you mentioned the Gibson thing, and I think it's important to make that distinction too, because with the Gibsons, they say Gibson on the headstock, and they have the scroll open book headstock and all of that. I mean, they are counterfeit Gibson
right.
violations. Yes,
right. We're not talking about counterfeit. We're talking about other companies doing things. But see, Fender has played fast and loose with the rules themselves, and the one that I'm holding in my lap right now, this one, is a 1989 Fender Stratocaster. It says on the neck heel, "Made in USA." Now, anybody who knows Strats is thinking, wait a minute, why does it say "Made in USA" on the heel? Well, it's because Fender was in the middle of closing factories in some places and opening factories in other places, and they were moving to Fullerton or wherever they are now.
Yeah.
And they were closing a factory in Japan and moving production all over the place to a bunch of different factories in Japan. So what they did was they took a bunch of USA crafted bodies, necks, et cetera, flew them to Japan, had them assembled in a factory over there, and stamped "Made in the USA" on the neck heel. Well, yeah, but you can't do that according to U.S. trade law. So they were not allowed to sell these things. They were export-only guitars. So they weren't allowed to sell them in the U.S., even though they say "Made in the USA" on them. So for Fender going, hey, gee, somebody's kind of stepping on us here. Come on, guys, back off.
And the irony that, like, if you get a nice early 80s Fender Japan Squire, they're amazing.
Oh, yeah, a buddy of mine had one, and it was a killer guitar.
The early Squires.
I had a hardtail 84 Strat. Cherry red. Again, why did I get rid of that guitar? But that's a whole different subject altogether.
No, can I ask you something, though, concerning the Strandberg? Because I'm thinking about, concerning the whole headstock thing, because the Holdsworth guitar, the signature one that he made from Carvin, is a headless one, but it sounds amazing. But what did you not like about the Strandberg?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, I bought the lowest level of Strandberg, and I bought a 7-string, and the since it's headless, it doesn't have tuning machines on this headstock anyways. It's in the bridge, and then they have a locking nut that fixes the string to beyond the nut, right? And multiple of these things were pulling out of the wood because they didn't make a set screw, and they drilled those things directly into the neck, and it couldn't handle the string tension, and I started losing tuning, and I'm like, why am I losing tuning? And I'd tune back up, and then it would and tune back up. It's because the screw is pulling out of the wood. I mean, it's true garbage. Like, how much does it take to put a set screw in too, right? Like,
well, that's the funny thing about Strandberg too. And I was super like surprised and like suspicious when I saw that they had moved operations to Indonesia. They've been in Korea, they've been other places before, and I was just like, okay, are they going to do okay? But then I actually I was talking to Ola Strandberg at a Guitar Center thing once, and he's like, you have to believe me, the quality control is we're going to try to keep it as high as we can. And so but like you say, 1 in 10, 1 in 5, there's always going to be one, whatever number, who knows what the ratio is.
Yeah, maybe I just got one of the bad ones, but it's the same factory as those SE Silver Skies are coming out of, and I have never played a bad one of those, and I've played a good amount, and they're all awesome. So part of it is your design, and I think that's honestly just a design flaw.
It also could be the setup,
Yeah, but
it's great because it's got a great setup.
I mean, if you talk to any luthier, if you show that to any luthier, they're going to be like, "Why in the world would they just drill this directly into a piece of wood? That's never going to hold."
True that. No, I agree with that.
It's a funny thing. I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
No, go for it, man.
Like I say, it's a funny thing. It's off topic, but it's on topic. When Tiger Woods was at the height of golf and what have you, and he was signed with Nike, he eventually went over to, he used a Nike golf ball. And ultimately, he switched over to a Bridgestone golf ball when Nike went out of the golf business. But it turns out they were made in the same factory. And the only difference between a Bridgestone ball and a Nike ball was a curtain. Because they put,
that happens a lot. That happens a lot.
Put Nike
and
stamps
branding,
on
right?
these, put Bridgestone stamps on those. So,
there's a really good video. There's a really good video you can look at on YouTube about the operations at the Court factory in Indonesia. You go on a
I've
tour,
seen that.
you see all the 5 or 6
Samick.
different brands. They're all made in one giant factory, and there's just like different wings or dedicated to different brands. And
is Samick still in business? Because I think they also do like that whole multi-brand thing, you know.
Yep.
Yeah,
whole,
I think so.
crazy.
It's sort of
Samick
like
and Court were connected.
peanut allergy, you know. There might be some Kramer in your Gibson or whatever.
Right.
You know, they're like sawdust
Produced on the
flying
same-
around. Yeah.
And that's
Not the
nothing
same
new.
machinery that produces Kramers. Yeah,
Right.
And that's nothing new either. I mean, when we were all showing off stuff before we started today, I showed you guys my Epiphone Casino. That was made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, at the Gibson factory. It's a Gibson ES330. It is exactly a Gibson ES330 with a different headstock. That's it.
Yeah.
If I
And
could
the thing
endorse any company, it would be Gibson for sure. I love their guitars, man.
I could see that.
But see, the issue is for me, anyways, is like my first nice guitar that I bought was an '80s Gibson Les Paul that was like this collab they did with Moog, where there was like Moog electronics
I
in it.
remember that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have grabbed one.
Well, and it was a really cool guitar, but I was a newer guitar player at the time, so I'm playing it in Guitar Center, right? This '80s Gibson, and I'm like, yeah, this thing's sick, and I love Adam Jones, and I never played above the 12th fret, and I brought it home and started playing above the 12th fret, and everything starts fretting out. And I'm like, this is whack. So I bring it back to them, and they work on it for like 2 hours, and they're like, yeah, the entire guitar is going to need a refret. And I'm like, well, why'd you sell it to me then, man? And I'm like, you're going to take it back. And they like didn't want to take returns at first. Like, we don't take returns on used instruments. I'm like, okay.
Even though it was new when I bought it. It was used when you...
It was a used...
That's
That's right.
So
Guitar Center, man.
the
Yeah,
problem
that's a bad
is,
place.
like, especially after the early 70s, the quality control of Gibsons went really downhill because for the same reasons that Fender did, they became this huge company that's more of a brand than a guitar maker. And that's, to me personally, this is where PRS enters the discussion, because Paul was studying Ted McCarty's techniques. Basically, he was, he'd find this thing that he really liked about a guitar and he'd look it up, and the patent was owned by Ted McCarty. And that happened so many times, he's like, all right, I got to meet this guy. So he like does some digging and finds this guy and so Ted was working with Gibson in the era where they were pumping out the best guitars, and a lot of the things that Ted did are what made Gibson guitars so great. So Paul goes and asks him, why'd you do this and why'd you do that, and some of the things he loved and some of the things he hated, and he used this guy's knowledge to craft what PRS guitars became, really. And that's why he has the Ted McCarty line in honor of what Ted did. And he's not saying that Ted is like the greatest guitar maker ever, but he is saying that he's definitely one of the most influential and impactful guitar makers.
It's sort
and
of,
that's,
yeah.
And that's why, like, when you pick up a PRS, I've never played a PRS where I picked it up and I was like, this sucks. I've played some SEs. I've played a few SEs where I'm like, yeah, this wood isn't as resonant, but like, these pickups rock and like whatever, it's going to sound great. So I think there's something to be said about how quality every single PRS is when you pick it up.
Quality is what I keep hearing. I stumbled across a Rick Beato video. I don't watch him as much as I used to because he's starting to come off as a get off my lawn kind of guy. Which,
I love him. I think he's fucking wonderful, man.
There's only room for one get off my lawn guy, and the job's already been taken. That's my job. But one of the first things he went off on was the quality of Fenders. Of Fender, he brought a brand new Strat. He brought it home, and immediately he had to buy a new neck because it just was not working. It was horrible.
It seems like there's a great book called The True Believer by Eric Hoffer, and Hoffer says every great idea begins as a movement, becomes a business, and descends into a racket. And Fender is clearly in the racket phase of its existence. PRS has not descended there yet. PRS is keeping it alive.
Yeah, they're definitely trading off the name, and everybody loves going back to the Gibson comparison. Everybody loves crapping all over the Norlin era Gibsons. The first Les Paul I ever owned, the first real Gibson Les Paul I ever owned, was a '76 Les Paul Custom. Greatest guitar. She said that's my why the hell did I get rid of that guitar? And I thought it was just wonderful. So finally I had to sell it. And a few years later, I was like, I got to have another one of those. And I found a 78 Les Paul Custom. Same line, same era, same everything else. And it was okay. It was fine, but it wasn't, oh my God. So there's always been that sort of up and down quality and quality control.
Yeah.
I grew up with copies, man. Like there was like my brother had a Hondo Les Paul copy, I think was his first guitar. And
well, they might be. Some of them are. Some of them are not.
Stretchy strap too.
But the thing is like that was if you grew up in a middle class household, with 4 kids, you're not gonna. I mean, anymore it's like people get fucking 58 Les Pauls for their first guitar, but when I was growing up, it's like you couldn't afford $800, but you could afford 3, so you got a copy of some kind, and that's the kind of guitars that I learnned on. My first real guitar was a Martin Sigma guitar, which was like the cheaper Dreadnought acoustic thing.
Yeah,
I learned like a motherfucker on that thing.
That Kramer that I just showed you was the first real guitar that I bought from a friend of mine for $200. And I was just like, it had a Floyd Rose on it, had a Seymour Duncan distortion pickup on it. And, the other pickups sound like shit, but but I was still happy to have something with a Floyd Rose on it, Well,
I think that really gets to the heart of does this lawsuit and does the verdict in this lawsuit make any sense? Because you would have to show damage to Fender, that it damages their brand to have somebody out there doing this. And the thing is,
damage if it's already broken.
Well, right. And on top of that, I mean, the guys now who are diehard, it's got to be a Fender. I've got to have a Fender. You're never going to lose them. And the guys, like you were talking about, middle class, they're not going to go buy a Fender Strat. It doesn't matter whether they buy a Squire or whether they buy, whatever. They're they're never going to spend the money to buy something just to have that name on the headstock if they just want to sit in their bedroom and play a guitar.
Yeah. See, I was the I got to have a Fender. I got to have a Fender during the first guitar renaissance, in the 90s. But that was primarily because I was obsessed with Adrian Belew. And, I wanted to get as close as I could to his guitar. So my 96, under the why did I get rid of that guitar special, my 96 50th anniversary Strat had modified, put a Kaler unit in it, and EMG pickups instead of lace sensors, and Spurzl.
Oh, lace sensors.
And,
fuck. Yeah.
I put Spurzl tuners on it, which is very similar to what I have now. I went with Spurzls and EMGs, but only I have a Vega Trem now, which is absolutely incredible. That whammy bar is like is brilliant, like nobody's business. But now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I don't have to have a Fender. We were talking before we came on about how much I'm in love with a Reverend guitar.
And and it's not even about. It's like they're not trying to like. I don't necessarily even think that there's an issue with the Fender branded instruments. Like they want to knock out since they own Jackson and Charvel, which are the 2 big Super Strat brands. They want to put a dent in the Silver Sky, and they want to put a dent in Ibanez, and they want to put a dent in anything that's a 2-horned Super Strat. That's my guess. That's all I can figure. It's just that they want a chunk of that.
Made, I go back to Adrian again when he went out for the Remain in Light tour for the Talking Head stuff. He had a couple of Strats custom made, with all the bells and whistles, and that's all well and good. But I can't go spend, $6,000-8,000 for a custom Strat.
And I would never buy a retail Fender anyway. Like I'm just like, actually, I say that I did buy one. When Eric Johnson put out the Virginia Stories Strat, like, okay, I'll get that. Yeah. But I'm not going to buy it. I just have no reason.
Is that the one with the F holes or no? Is that the one?
No, it's the one made of sassafras.
Oh,
so Eric Johnson found out that his 54 was made of sassafras, and he was like, "That's the difference." Because he was been wondering for years and years, why did all these Strats not sound like my 54? And then they had the custom shop made him something out of sassafras, and he was like, "That's the sound I've been trying to find." So I was like, "Okay, I'll buy that."
There was the thing with
Tone Wood's a myth.
Yeah. I know, but
I'm
seriously,
joking.
like,
I would never actually say that.
But fucking Eric Johnson says that he can tell the difference between Duracell and Energizer 9 volts.
Right.
He might be more autistic than you. You never know.
Well, that's actually what I was coming to next is non-musicians, fans out in the audience who think of guitars, they don't understand the intimate relationship that musicians have with their instruments, especially their primary ones. You can have a secondary that sounds like this, sounds like that, but everybody's got a thing that they connect to almost the instant you pick it up. When I picked up that 96 the first time and just strummed an open E, and I just knew. And the same thing happened with this 88, but that doesn't come around the corner every day. So
It also
can I throw a question out to the group here?
Yeah.
What was your first guitar that you really wanted? Like when you were a kid, you saw it or you heard it and you're like, I want that motherfucker so bad. What is it?
it was definitely Strats for me.
string.
Yeah, it was definitely Strats for me because of Adrian. It was no
Ibanez
question.
7-string?
So for me, it was the Steve Vai Ibanez Universe.
The
seven
Universe?
string.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
things
that was
are
the first time
fucking sick.
the first time I'd ever seen anybody play a guitar by itself. He played the baseball, game where he did the national anthem.
Yeah,
It's like,
go,
that's what I
John.
want.
Well, all right, you're going to laugh, and that's fine. But keep in mind, I was 13. It was 1982, I was 15. I'm sorry, it was 1984, and it was the metal era. And
Yeah.
I walked into a guitar shop and I saw what became my second ever electric guitar purchase was a 1984 PV Mantis, the X body PV.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
wow. Okay.
Damn.
Absolutely loved it. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's gotten to the point now, every so often I'll check out Reverb and see if there's one up there just to see, maybe I'll get one of those things back. But yeah, I did. I loved that guitar, man. It was great.
How about
God
you,
bless
Bob?
Peavy for trying. Peavy was always trying.
So I was a
No.
Kiss fan when I was a kid. So I wanted a Les Paul, but one that had smoking pickups and shot bottle rockets.
They didn't make that. They didn't release many of
They
those.
still don't. I got to make it
There's
myself.
There's some lawsuits probably.
And one more point on the lawsuit, by the way, and said I sent you a picture of this. There's one that I've been going back and forth. Do I make the purchase because I'm a huge Steely Dan fan, and there's a guitar that has been out there for sale from the Walter Becker estate called the Uh-Oh guitar. It's
Okay.
it's a T style. It's a Telly style. That was made, I think, by DiMarzio. It was a one-off, he gave them the specs of what he wanted and had them go build it for him. And the one thing that this lawsuit has the potential to do is kill some of the innovation that some of these other companies may have, like the Silver Sky, because that T-style guitar is a neck through. It's not even a set neck; it's a neck through, all the way through the body. Nobody did that. Fender doesn't do that. So if I want a Telly that's got a neck through, I got no choice. I have to have somebody make one for me.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes
So
sense.
I was actually in a band with a guy who's a patent attorney, and I was thinking of this this comparison that I've made with students before of how and it's a little general. Guitars are like cars. They all do the same thing. You get in one, it takes you from one place to another, right? But the difference is in the craftsmanship and the quality of the materials and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Are you driving a Yugo or are you driving a Ferrari?
Right, but I think
Yeah, but that would assume that all guitars are trying to do the same thing, which I don't believe that's true.
But I think it separates, though. The comparison separates when there's a lot of proprietary stuff in cars. You know what I mean? When you're working on a Mustang versus a Ford versus a Chevy versus a Lexus, you're going to be using different parts and stuff like that, right? If guitars were that proprietary from the beginning, Fender would have a very strong leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But they're not. You could take any Fender into a luthier or a repair shop or whatever, and he doesn't say, well, I need Fender parts to fix this. Unless it's custom things or, unless it's a certain year where the pick guard doesn't exactly fit or something like that, But for the most part, like I said, unless they make it very, very proprietary, I don't really see how they have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
I also don't think that solves a problem with guitars because all the things that you could make proprietary don't have to do with what they're suing over,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're gonna, it's gonna lose. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose.
Yeah. The other thing I think of is I think they're just at a point of, because the whole market is oversaturated.
Yeah.
They have they've done so many Guitar Center sale-a-thons,
Right.
They've overloaded the market. They've made so many models, revisions and all that, and they're just out of ideas.
Yeah.
So
And
where
plus-
do they get the extra 10%,
Yeah.
The used market
Post-pandemic
is
sales are
killing
down.
it too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the used market is killing new product
Yeah,
for
there's so
makers
many great
across
good guitars from the past.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
I mostly buy
new gear is
used.
expensive. There's just no getting around that, especially if you're a casual player, which I'm assuming a lot of people that wander into a guitar center are, because more players, quote unquote, are going to mom and pop shops, people that they actually know, or they may find the quality like Benjamin did in a bigger brand, but for the most part, they just want to walk in and say, "Hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for," and you can get that kind of thing in a smaller shop, Killer Vintage,
Well,
and
I mean,
St. Louis,
when I
and what
was
have you.
shopping
ahead.
for a telly in college, I played 9 of them before I was like, hey,
Yeah.
this is the one,
Yeah,
because production line guitars are just that. I mean, some of them are just going to be shit,
yeah. Is
and
there an
and
assumption, you think, at these factories that this is going to be for a casual player? Do they just assume that nobody, quote unquote, in a band is gonna play one of these?
I would like
I
to
don't
think
know.
so.
I don't think people are thinking about that. I think most of the time, the way that these cheap guitars get made is they're like, where can we cut corners? Where can we cut corners? Where can we cut
Right.
corners?
Pickups,
And-
hardware, pickups, hardware, pickups, hardware.
Yeah,
it's
pickups,
it's
hardware.
really hard.
And the neck though,
And fret
the,
ends. Fret ends.
and the neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
this is a very famous PRS story, and I know I sound like a fucking advertisement,
Chill. No.
but
You are an endorsee.
yeah, but
Oh.
I am an endorsee because like I bought thousands of dollars of worth of their guitars before that happened. But oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, sorry.
So they often will over the years have brought in consultants to look at their factory process and see where they can save money and see hey, if you tried this or if you did this process, you could make save money this way or whatever, right? And every time they come in, they look at the process for building a PRS neck and they say, well, you guys take 30 days to build a neck and we could get that down to 3. And they just write them a check and send them on their way and never have changed the process because they know that the reason why PRS guitars are so quality is because they spend 30 days to make a neck.
Yeah.
And those
Is that
30
still the
days,
case with CNC machines and so forth?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. They've had the CNC machine since the 80s. And they still spend 30 days to make a neck. And here's a fun story. I bought a custom private stock PRS and it actually came with a flaw. And that's a very expensive instrument and it came with a flaw and they were like, well, it's not a flaw. And Sweetwater, who I bought it through at the time, was like, yeah, it's fine. You're going to love this guitar. And what it was is it's a Brazilian rosewood neck, and at the 7th fret there was a knot in the neck, and so they couldn't get the neck profile down enough because that knot was so thick. But they'd put all this time into this instrument, and it was playing really well. So they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna send it out," and it was great for a long time. And then all of a sudden, the neck started warping, twisting, and started popping frets out. And what they did was they took the guitar back from me. They sanded the body down. They cut the neck out. They built an entire new neck in 30 days. And they glued the new neck back into the old body, refinished it, and sent it back to me as a basically brand new guitar for free.
Yeah. Well, and Cedric mentioned a little while ago Killer Vintage Guitars in St. Louis that is run by a good friend of ours, Dave Hinson. And he told this story because he knows everybody. I mean, absolutely everybody. And he had a conversation many, many years ago with Leo Fender. And they were talking about that idea of the assembly line, because we look at those guitars, the 59s and the 60s and all of that, and we go, oh, that's an artwork. It's a piece of art. No, that was a guitar that came out of a factory. And Leo told him, he said, these kids will come up to me and say, I just bought some guy was trying to sell me what he said was an original 59 Strat, but on the pick guard, it was slotted screws instead of Phillips screws. And Leo went, yeah, I mean, if we ran out of screws on a Friday, we'd send some kid down to the hardware store to get more. They weren't making art. They were making guitar. And I also want to point out, by the way, it's 6 hours later here than it is where you guys are, and the sun's going down. So in case you're wondering why I'm starting to look like my own last known photograph, there's a reason.
I just thought that the atmosphere got darker as you did. So
Storm
Yes.
clouds.
The subject matter is so negative, we're all going into the dark. I get that. What do we think the replacement parts, the All Pros and the Warmiths and what have you? I mean, where is their quality control? Because I'm not experienced with them. I mean, are they on par? Are they a little better?
mean,
Are they a little worse?
Warmoth is kind of a standard at this point. I think they make really quality stuff, and
Yeah, totally.
But you pay for it, though. You do pay for
Yeah.
it.
They
I
do
mean,
charge for it.
all parts is not so great. But like, if you gotta replace like the little pickup selector plastic thing
Yeah.
on your Strat, they're a good
Yeah.
company to go to for that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't buy frets. I wouldn't buy anything else from Machine Heads or any of that sort of stuff. But Warmoth is quality. I've got some friends that build some guitars just using all Warmoth parts, and they're beautiful instruments.
Which just
I've
leads
got
me
a-
to wonder why would I even go through Fender anymore when I can go to Warmoth and get
Well, I mean,
what I want
Fender.
built?
Like I said, so I've got like a 72 reissue like Tobacco Sunburst Fender years ago because my Leo Fender a GNL got stolen. I needed to do a gig on a Strat, so I bought that. But I needed to replace the pickups to 58 62s because the pickups that came in the Strat sucked. But I liked how it felt, and a Strat is a sound. It's a sound. This is all about sound for me. Like, that's why when I bought my Telly, I played like 9 of them before I landed on black one. I didn't necessarily want a black guitar, but I wanted the Telly, and it played the best. And just for convenience at the time, you went to stores to buy a guitar. You didn't go online. So, I mean, in terms of like the sound, the 3 single coil sound, I mean, a Strat is the standard for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I need like that bridge position, that neck position, and that second position sound, that glassy out of phase second position.
Yeah.
I gotta have it. I can't get it on a Les Paul. I just can't.
Yeah, I usually ran between the bridge and the middle, that little middle section there during the first guitar renaissance. Lately, I've been more about the neck position, either the neck position pure or the bridge position pure, depending on what I'm trying to play. And I guess that's a case of your ears aging or maturing or however it is you want
Going
to look
deaf.
at it. Going deaf is
Losing all your high end.
Exactly. That's why I wouldn't spend $300 on the earplugs at the University of Chicago. That's a whole different situation right there. Anybody know officially what happened to GNL? Because
they just went out of business. They just weren't profitable anymore.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I've got one of my favorite guitars is a Legacy Special that I bought back in '97. It's the primary guitar I used in Kick the Cat for all the records we made thereafter. And but that was Leo Fender's company. Hello, everybody. Of course it had the Strat style, everything except for the headstock.
Yeah.
And
they didn't have a roster of players too. Like, I didn't think of them as like a lot of. I feel like when a guitar company comes along, and this is interesting too because Guitar Center wants to start their own brand, and I feel like Guitar Center needs to understand that they're not selling guitars; they're selling dreams. When you buy a guitar, like most people for their first guitar, they're buying that dream. Like, I want the visual picture of the thing that it's in my dream, like the players that I like. Like, that's talking about the first guitar you mentioned a second ago that I've been in a 7-string. I still have it. I've had it since 1995. And that's part of the equation in the head. Like, if you don't have a guitar company doesn't have a roster of players, then they're probably not going to last very long. That's why Fernandez isn't around either. Fernandez didn't have a strong roster of players.
Yeah.
Or like Valley Arts is gone also. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go.
I was going to say, when I was starting out, I wanted 3. Well, first of all, an SG, because Angus Young played an SG. And Frank Zappa played an SG, so I wanted a fucking SG,
Yep,
and then,
all the reason you need.
and I was a kid, and then, I grew up in a household that was into Led Zeppelin, so when I saw The Song Remains the Same when I was like 8 years old, I was like, holy shit, I want a Les Paul. And then when I saw Alex Lifeson on Exit Stage Left, now that was a Hentor, not a Stratocaster, but it was a Strat style. If anything, it was, I think, more along the lines of a what was it, a Kramer, or no, not was a Kramer. What was the other one? What was the one that you held up there?
That was a Kramer. ESP or Charvel? Okay.
Yeah. I thought that's what it was, but no, it was a Hentor. But it had that sound, and but then I started to get into all sorts of other kinds of music, and it's like, well, shit, you want the guitar that your heroes play, and but then when you start to actually I for the last 32 years I've been a professional musician, and a lot of these guitars are. I mean, how shitty would Take the Money and Run sound on a Les Paul? It's just, it's or any of the Steve Miller stuff. It's like you can't play that shit on a Les Paul. I mean, it's
absolutely
got the sound of a Stratocaster, and
that's what a lot of, I'm going to call them civilians for the sake of argument. That's what a lot of civilians don't understand. I'm a fan of Dada, and
love
from
Dada.
the time I got into playing, and I would listen to Michael Gurley play, I'm like, okay, that's a Strat going into a Fender amp, and I
and there's nothing like it.
Yeah, exactly. And when I finally saw him a couple of years ago or less at House of Blues, the first thing I did was look, at his gear. I'm like, okay, there's the amp. There's the, okay, I'm right. There's a guitar. Now he switched to a Gibson every now and then, but I knew that sound, to the point where you want to, okay, he's in the neck position right now.
And that's where it goes back to Chris's point about what Fender is really saying in this lawsuit or in these cease and desist letters is our signature is not the sound. Our signature is just what the guitar looks like.
Right. Yeah. And that's so fucking, it's so fucking stupid. It's so stupid. And that's why they're going to lose. Because the PRS looks nothing like it. It doesn't.
So, Chris, to answer your question, I'm kind of strange in that I didn't want to play guitar so much as a kid. There were points where I wanted to play guitar, but I never had any guitar players where I was like, oh, I really want to play like that person. And I ended up, I was a piano player for a lot longer. And for me, the first thing I wanted was a Steinway. And I luckily have one. I have a 1929 6-foot Steinway, and it's killer.
Wow.
And I got used to playing an instrument of that quality. And when I started really seriously playing guitar, that, my story of getting a Les Paul, I was like, this thing's janky, So I went to another actual guitar store, Wildwood Guitars in Louisville, Colorado. Is a very well known place.
I've been there.
It's fire. Been there. It's amazing. And they put this guitar in my hand.
Well, I like it.
This thing,
beautiful. Yeah.
This thing, like, I have had so many PRSs over the years, and like every PRS has magic qualities to it, but this thing is true magic. Like every time I play a note on it, I'm like, the pickups, you can't buy the pickups separate. If you could, I would put them in like all my guitars. But the other thing that I really like the PRS does is they give you coil taps or coil splits, on just about everything. So I can split this, and with these DGTs specifically, this is Dave Grissom's signature. These DGTs specifically are known for being like Swiss Army guitars, where like you're not going to get a Strat. It's a Strat, but the single coil sound, it accomplishes that sound, right? And then you engage the full humbuckers, and it sounds like an SG, man. Like this guitar is magic, and the full mahogany, it's just, I don't know. And then, so like this was the guitar that I want. Like they put it in my hands, I was like, no, I want this guitar. Like this is the guitar I've always wanted, and I didn't even know it.
Sitting here thinking that today is Prince's birthday. And here's a guy.
Happy birthday!
Absolutely destroyed the world playing a Telly style guitar, but it's not a Telly.
No, it was a Honer.
It was a Honer.
Yeah, so
it was a
nice
guitars.
Yeah.
Now
exactly.
you can't get them for less than $3,000 or something like that.
Again, the dreams. It's selling those dreams.
Yeah.
It's not about the quality or anything. It's just
I'm sure as hell not going to buy one with his symbol on it. That was just that's insane looking. But
I don't know. I saw you fangirl at the Prince Museum.
I did fangirl at the Prince Museum. That is true, and I plan on going back. So
who here is going to buy one of the Guitar Center guitars?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Fender's so gung-ho about people not copying their style. If by some chance they decided to up their game, if Fender becomes Fender again, do they bring fans in? Do they bring more guitar players back, or are they just gone and off to another brand?
I mean, I
don't think it matters anymore, to be honest with you, man. I think they're kidding themselves. They're kidding themselves now.
If Fender actually wanted to like be a reputable guitar maker in today's world, like, because to anybody who plays guitar, like the concept of going and buying a new Fender is like kind of somewhat laughable at this point, right? Am I wrong?
It depends on how much time you want to. It's like thumbing through the catalog,
Exactly.
That's
right?
it.
Or if you ask Rick Beato, can I replace this neck? Can I find
Right.
Can I find better quality
Wow, these
parts?
pickups sound like shit. Can I get better sounding pickups? But,
Yeah.
you know, blah, blah, blah.
I think the thing that they need to do is at least introduce a line where the sound of the guitar is actually like considered, like the playability, the durability, all of the things that us as guitar players need to form a connection with an instrument, you know?
Yeah.
Like if those things are considered throughout the entire design and build process, and they sell them, you know, it's a Fender, so let's say they sell them for $5,500 or something like that, right? Like but it's like every single one of those guitars is special, and you pick it up and you feel something when you play it, and you feel yourself inside of it, you know, like, and you hear the music that you're going to write on it, you know.
Well,
like,
like the custom shop models, I think. I mean, in any maker though that has their custom shop is gonna. I mean, those custom shop Strats are pretty fucking remarkable instruments, you know.
Yeah, they are. And so the question is like, how available are they? And then like, how are you gonna sell people on that? Because I think to be really reputable, you have to be a company that serious musicians can make serious music on, right? And
and this with the serious musician thing is a big piece of this as well, because when we were talking about Les Paul versus Fender a little while ago, Johnny Hickman of Cracker is a good friend of mine, and he's a wonderful guy. And not all that long ago, I mean, he was legendarily a Les Paul player. I mean, Lucky Number 7, that Les Paul custom was with him forever.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where he's as old as we are now, if not just a little bit older, and can't play that thing on stage anymore. It's 14 pounds, man. You can't hang that around your neck for 3 hours every night and not kill yourself. Yeah. So he moved to a Strat, and but he sat down with the guys at Fender to design his Strat to be able to produce his sound. And how many of us are ever going, in a million years, are ever going to get to do that? So if you if you don't have that, then
well, and the other question is what happened to that guitar, right? Like, how many models did they make? Like, did they utilize that musician's input, helping them make something great, and then like actually profit from it? Like, I doubt it, right?
Yeah. And so you bring up affordability, and it's a good point, because as much as I drool over Adrian Belew and wanted to play a Strat and what have you, I thought to myself, having a Les Paul wouldn't be the worst idea either. In fact, I had a 74 Deluxe for a while, speaking of heavy. But Fender was affordable. Yeah, I mean, Fender was affordable. I bought that 96 I was talking about, came into the shop literally an hour before I saw it. Came into J Gravity Strings in St. Louis literally an hour before I saw it. And the guy bought it brand new, and he didn't like it. He brought it back, and Gravity stuck a price tag on it for I think $1,100, and I wound up getting it for $8, somewhere in that range, which was a third of what I would have paid for a Les Paul, and I absolutely love that guitar. I got this 88 for $650, something like that. I did Dave a favor, but in the end, I was paying on it, making little payments on it. And one day I just walked in and he just handed it to me. Here, you're done. but the point is, I can afford this thing. Just like my Squire Telly. I bought a Squire Telly I love. I mean, I was just stunned by how much I love that guitar. They're affordable, is what I'm getting at. It's a lot easier to go in and spend $500-600 on a Strat than it is to spend, even PRS. I love PRSs, but I'm just looking at the price tag going, I don't know.
Those Silver Skies are only $800-900, right?
And that's not bad. That's not bad.
Dude, you're gonna be happy if you want a Strat style guitar and you spend that. You're gonna be happy. I guarantee you.
The question is, am I going to be able to buy one in the near future? If
I highly doubt this is going to affect anything. I guarantee you, Paul is just laughing every single day.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, how in love with the brand are you, and how much does it matter? I got a buddy of mine, really good friend of mine, Scotty Boyer. He used to play with Leon Russell. He's got all these guitars that are like, I've never fucking heard of these things. I mean, they're copies of this and that and the other thing, and I've played a few of them, and they play pretty fucking well. I mean, it wouldn't occur to me to go out and do that, but it occurred to him, and he's got like, I don't know, probably 30 of them, and now he's got some really, really nice guitars, and then he's got a lot of these weird copies that play really well. So I think it's just how in love with you in love with you. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. How
How
in love
are you?
with a brand?
I am so
are
into
you?
you. I think the
Yeah.
rhythm section said it
I
best.
mean, yeah.
If I were the marketing guy over at Fender, I would be like shitting my pants right now because they've got to be coming to him like, what ideas do you have? And normally he would be like, oh, I've got another celebrity, that's ready to, sell some guitars. Tell him like because back in the day, you could just open any guitar magazine and it'd be flooded with people ready to sell you a guitar. You know what I'm saying? Like of all the genres.
Well, like
But
Clapton Strats, Jeff Beck Strats,
correct.
fucking whatever,
And Jeff
So,
Beck
like,
had a baseball bat for a
The
neck.
closest thing I can think of, and it's because they're becoming viral, is that Angie de Poitrine band. But I mean, I love that. I love that because I love the creative possibilities of that guitar, but I want to leave those possibilities to the guy who uses it. So you know what I mean? I don't know if I want that guitar. You know what I mean? Let him be his own creative force, right? But maybe that would inspire the guitar makers to go, okay, people are ready for something creative. They're ready to challenge themselves creatively. Maybe that's the next step. They're running out of ideas, really. So they're coming after their own market.
Yeah. I mean,
That's smart.
I saw them try on a statement. They seem to back off their language a little bit where, it can't be the exact same, electronic setup or what have you. So like I might be able to get away with my Schecter because the input jack is on the bottom of the body instead of, along the side.
But it's so fucking stupid to even consider any of this.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, it's what, so what do you, it can't be the body shape. Because the Silver Sky doesn't have the same body shape. It's got a similar look to it, but the body shape is different. It just is. It's just a different design,
And Fender doesn't take big swings anymore. Like they're not taking risks. They're not going to try anything.
No,
I just think it's so weird that they decided that this German lawsuit was like the thing. Because like again, if you look at like why are they only coming after Strat style guitars and not Tele style guitars? Like there's so many Tele style guitars out there, but like this German thing was for Strat style guitars only. So like I think they're smoking crack, man.
I remember, I know this is going to sound a little bit unrelated, but I remember I was on a tour in England and we passed a pub and they said, the pub is trying to gain the rights to say that J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter there. Okay?
We are relaxed, but sure.
Okay. Now, Lou Malnati's.
Way to alienate a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, if you guys know who Lou Malnati's is here in Chicago, they're trying to claim the whole thing about stuffed pizza, okay? I think maybe that's what like Fender is maybe trying to do, is that they're trying to like sort of like corner this sort of like legacy kind of thing that like we are the Stratocaster. Don't touch it. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because you talk about quality. I had a Lou Malnati pizza and I put it behind Giordano's and Gino's East as exchange go.
Nancy's is, if you can find it, Nancy's is the best anyway.
Well, and Stratocaster is such an important name to protect that they stamp it on $150 Squires.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, and they also like Fender hasn't like the last time Fender took a big chance on something, and this is another thing that I think instrument companies don't realize. The instrument companies or Guitar Center, whoever tries to rethink the product, but the product evolution and innovation should come from the players. Like Steve Vai innovated the crap out of the Super Strat. It became the Gem, and which became the RG, which became half of Ibanez's entire product line. Yeah. And so that's really where, and they had the chance. They had John Mayer, who has been the number one guitar guy, for the past 20 something years for Fender. And they just didn't want to pick up the phone and make him stuff. I mean, Ibanez will make Steve Vai stuff at the drop of a hat. You want a three-necked guitar that looks like a dragon? Yeah, we'll do it.
Is that guy that guy Matteo Mancuso, does he have a signature?
Yamaha. He's got a Yamaha. Okay. He's like, I'm going to go to a company that doesn't have a top name player, and I'm going to own that house. And that's like, Matteo Mancuso is going to sell a lot of Pacificas. But the last time that Fender took a big swing was the 1983 Fender Elite. This is the King's X guitar.
God,
This
This is the guitar. This is the earliest. These are pre-laced sensor pickups. It's got an active EQ inside the.
Oh my God!
It doesn't have a trim route. It's got the free flight trim that doesn't
What
go
the
through the
fuck?
back. Like
What
it's
the
got a wider
fuck?
fingerboard
Can
radius.
I ask how much you paid for that?
This was only $2,000 now.
Oh my
I mean,
God!
and
I
I
hope
bought
you
it
have a
from
vault in your house somewhere.
I do have a
I'm-
little vault. I bought it from Rockin' Robin in Houston, Texas, just last year, and it's really odd and strange, and nobody bought it except Ty Tabor.
yeah.
Companies don't have a good track record of innovating on their own. They need a player, and that's the only reason I bought it. It's because of Ty Tabor. That's the only reason I bought that guitar.
You
I
and
wanted
John
that
strike me as the big.
I'm a
big
total
buyers
King's
here.
X freak, man. Oh my God!
I wanted that sound, and I tracked down an L5 Lab Series amplifier because I wanted that sound, and that's how you do it.
Well, one day I will own a Formanta because I need that Soviet block sound. I really, I feel like that's something I need to make my own.
I do,
think-
you know, but I remember a long time. I think it was like 19 years when I first had that. When I first bought that Kramer, right? I brought it into the local music store in Bolingbrook because I heard that Alan Holdsworth had like these signature pickups that just came out, right? And the guy was like, he's like, I could sell you those pickups and I'll put them in the guitar for you, but you're not going to sound like Alan Holdsworth. I was just
That's not how
so
it works.
glad that he was like honest with me, you know?
Well, that's
Yeah.
a huge thing about all of this artist series bullshit anyway. I mean, you might be able to get it to sound like John Mayer's guitar, but you're not going to be able to get it to sound like John Mayer.
Exactly.
I read that.
You got to put in the hours. You still got to put the hours in.
Why would you want
Yeah.
to sound like somebody else? The whole point of an instrument is to be able to find yourself inside
Yeah.
of it.
There
know?
you go.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
but that's something that sort of dilettante players or amateur or beginner or hobbyist players will never get to that realization. It's just
A friend of
it's
mine
like
used to say you could hand Jeff Beck a 2x4 with 2 strings on it, and
well, that's what I was
going to
say when he did that Roger Waters record in the early '90s. What was it? Fuck, I can't remember what it is. But he didn't even have a guitar when he came into the studio. He just took what was ever on the wall, played that, and
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros and cons of hitchhiking. Was that the one?
no, I think it was Amused
Amused to death.
Was there.
Amused to death.
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the one weird guy that buys as many. I've had every signature model I've ever wanted to have, and I've always spent a little bit of time to try to get the players sound like I got a Steve Morse model. And when I play Steve Morse songs on it, it does sound like Steve because his pickups are really really weird, and so that's a very distinctive sound. And that Elite Strat is an incredibly specific sound that only sounds.
Yeah,
like
that
Ty
one I was
Tabor.
just gonna say, man. That with the L5. Oh my God.
The only
and-
signature series I have is that Frank Zappa Roxy SG. I have one of those.
I almost
three-
did it.
with the
Yeah,
three
and I
humbuckers.
had to get it because I had to. Are you fucking kidding me? I had to buy it. You know.
If you're gonna do one, that's the one to do, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I got to actually. I got to play Mike Keneally's
models.
thing.
It was pretty
Oh
decent.
yeah.
First Renaissance, and I got rid of that. The only thing I did was I took the SRV pick art off and put a white one on because it was just there's certain things where you bring a certain guitar along, and you're like, oh, you've got that, you better be able to play.
Well, you got a target on your head if you bring that out in public. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean,
Those are all of my guitars.
my second Strat, yeah, my second Strat is a Frankenstein. It's a '92 Mexican body with a Squire neck I found in a pawn shop. I've got EMG pickups on it because I was looking for red pickups and I stumbled into them, and I had it custom painted from an artist.
Is that the white one?
No. It's I'll have to show it to you later. It's like a dolly gone sideways.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that instrument, but I'm going to need another neck because it doesn't feel like my '88. I need that kind of feel again. But I wanted a only custom model I've really wanted, and I sound like a broken record, but I wanted Adrian's signature Parker Fly, but I didn't have $8,000 on it.
Take out a mortgage for that one.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I mean, it's got all the line 6 settings, and the pickups are just so. And it was like, okay, and they're so lightweight. I picked up a Fly in Guitar Center one day, and I almost accidentally threw it across the room because there was no weight to it. But
Yeah, I could never play a guitar like that. I tried it. I had a buddy of mine had a Fly, and it's really really cool, and it's extraordinarily easy to play. But it's not a guitar. I mean, I beat the piss out of my guitars. That's one thing you can do with a Les Paul and a Strat and a Tele, is you can beat the piss out of them. And like, I don't know. The Fly just had this real delicate, almost like museum-esque quality to it, and I don't feel like I can dig in on that thing. But it's not about digging in; it's about the locus of control. Like the real small movements. You don't have to play as hard. You don't have to do all these sort of overcompensating things. It's already there.
Yeah.
Well, I spent a lifetime doing all those overcompensating things. So, like, when I pick up the Fly, it was sort of like, I'm going to tear this thing apart, man.
Yeah.
This is my target guitar.
Okay, well, there you go.
This
You
puts a
already got
target
your
on my head anytime I play it.
Nice.
Wow.
This guy's serious.
Look
You
at
better
this.
deliver.
Look at that.
Wow.
Which
That's beautiful.
Yep, you played that once or twice.
Oh,
I think.
man.
So you brought that out with you, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you guys-
Yeah. Look at that flame. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
It
so
kinda is
beautiful.
the Larry Lalonde sort of guitar that he used to play with
Oh
Primus
yeah,
in the
Lair.
90s.
This looks a lot like Lair's early PRS. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen him play that thing a bunch. I'm gonna see him play it for 2 nights in the end of the month here too.
Yeah, I just thought of it. You've got this lawsuit going on here. You want to cease and desist. There's a part of me asking, how do you enforce it with all the boutiques and the custom luthiers that are out there? That
You don't. It's unenforceable.
This is the second time you've made me think of the Fender SS, and they like come to your door and they're like, "Oh, you have a Strat style guitar?
No,
We're burning it."
No, they're just gonna
Please.
they're gonna fire their marketing guy and use that salary to hire some lawyers.
Yeah,
and just go through all of the
exactly. I have-
all
and
the
they're gonna send-
dealerships one by one.
Right, and
Yeah.
they're going to send them to China, right?
Yeah.
To go into a factory in China to tell them what they can't do.
Yeah,
Good luck
good
with
I
that.
think the
Good
whole
luck,
thing
yeah.
is a cynical fucking cash grab. It means absolutely nothing. They're going to lose the suit. Everybody who is even a Fender artist just thinks the whole thing's a fucking joke. So it's a PR catastrophe for them.
Yeah.
And
I just wrote a piece. Sorry, Chris. I just wrote a piece for my website, CirdecSongs.com, where I said, a lot of people work very difficult jobs: police officers, firemen, nurses, and the public relations director at Fender. Because it's just not where you want to be right now. And I was a public relations guy in the Air Force, and I'm just sitting there thinking, oh no, I don't want any part of that, because you're just writing statement after statement and dipping and ducking and dodging, trying to figure out how to get around this thing. And I keep coming back to, how do you enforce this? When we were told on the job, we want you out there preventing homicide. Okay,
Fender
well,
Ice.
I'm going to need a precog because I have no idea where this is going to happen, for crying out loud. So
there's no way it's enforceable. The whole thing is bullshit. My prediction is that when the lawsuit does fail, and it will, new CEO will come in and they will find another thing to try to. I mean, if they would just make like a really quality assembly line product that was good, and like it just
Or innovate. Or innovate.
That's hard.
Lead the pack and innovate.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think that they're following a specific example of somebody that we've been watching for the past decade, that we all know of, like, not being able to take responsibility for ruining everything themselves,
but also failing like a motherfucker in court. So it's just
do
like,
it to yourself,
Right.
you do, and that's why it really hurts.
Bravo. Well done. Well played. John, what comes next? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I'm with Chris. I think that this is going to be an absolute disaster and a PR disaster for Fender at a time when they least need one. So, it was a dumb idea for them to send those cease and desist letters, and the world is going to laugh at them.
Yeah, makes sense. I keep thinking now. I'm thinking about "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" They got this here recession on.
Yeah, right.
I have yet to hear one person defend it. I have yet to hear one musician.
Yeah.
One professional out there.
I don't want Silver Sky, god damn it.
Yeah. I mean,
Have you guys?
my timeline was just inundated. My YouTube timeline was just inundated with people just going off on Fender. What the hell are these people doing?
Do you guys know who Danny Sapko is? Bass player guy.
Not off the
He's
top
like
of my
a
head.
YouTuber.
Oh, is he the British cat?
Yeah.
The bass guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a whole
Oh,
response
yeah.
video on the Fender
Yeah.
thing that's pretty funny.
I'm gonna have to
I've
find
got a
that.
question really quick for everyone. Like, my girlfriend is a Disney person, like a total Disney file, and Disney fans love to ask this question. What would Walt do? Now, other than like start his own company like he already did, like Leo Fender did,
Or be a raging anti-Semite.
what would Leo Fender do? What do you think he would do? I think he would just tell him to just knock the shit off. Like,
Shut up.
who came up with this? Knock it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that body style's been around since, the overall body style's been around since, 1954, somewhere in there?
Mhm.
54.
70 years. Okay, if we didn't do it within 7 months, what the hell? Why are we doing this 70 years later? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's the CEO wants to make the company profitable, and a way to do that without actually making any
Improving your product.
right
Yeah.
is just to go after the whole licensing thing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
Very quick story here, because since you mentioned Disney, and this kind of gets to the heart of this, there was, when I was in Tampa, there was a daycare, just a tiny little, daycare center for little kids, and they had painted a bunch of Disney characters on the outside of the building. Disney came in and sued them and sent them cease and desist orders and all of this stuff. So what happened was, Disney's big competition is, of course, Universal for the theme park
Childcare
business.
places.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. But yeah, so Universal saw all of this going on and how terrible a PR thing it was for Disney, and sent their Hanna-Barbera artists to this daycare in Tampa to paint their characters on the outside of the building. Somebody's going to stick it up Fender's ass. Is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
I think if you want people to stop making copies of your guitars, you need to make your guitars something that are synonymous with quality. Because like when you think about like a band, like this is a bad example, but my band gets accused of being a Tool ripoff all the time, and when people say that, there's like this kind of disdain, like you're copying something that's already great. And that's not how anybody feels about Strat style copy guitars, right? Because they're not copying something great. They're improving on something that was great and then went to shit, right? So if you start making it synonymous with quality, then people are going to be like, hey, stop copying this thing that's already exists. Like, you're a knockoff. But that's not how anybody feels.
Exactly.
Hands up everybody who's heard the whole phenomenon of pre-CBS Fender products.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was, so when CBS did that, they were mass produced and there was a huge demand for them. But I remember I had an I used to have an old Bassman, and it was after CBS. He opened the thing up to work on it, and there was like at least a mile of ribbon cable in there that was just shoved in the chassis, because it was just like, oh, we'll just tie this up, it'll be fine, and we'll sell it and whatever. and it's just like, that's the kind of thing, like if Fender really wants to make a case, they should start making, good instruments again,
Be undeniable. Just be undeniable, and you won't have to sue anybody.
But like,
that way when you pick up a different instrument with the same body sounds, like, oh God, this isn't a Fender. What the hell am I doing
exactly.
with this?
Exactly.
There's one thing like there's like one thing in marketing. It's like a really basic example of like a restaurant. When you open a restaurant, it's like, okay, there's 100 hot dog places, but what is it about your hot dog place that says we have to go to like Mr. D's or whatever? You know what I mean? What is it that separates you from everyone else? So maybe that's something that they need to do.
Telling your customers.
That was kind of very Freudian reference, wasn't it?
Because you're exactly right. I'm not going to buy Oscar Mayer when I can buy either National or Nathan's. Because
I'm buying Mr. D's personally. Definitely.
I got to go talk to my therapist about that one. It's very, very Freudian.
We got to be sure to bring that up, because sometimes a hot dog is just a hot dog.
With that note,
let's be frank.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Peace out.
And I've taken up enough of you guys' time. This was fun, and
it's very fun.
I think the universal opinion here is Fender, get your shit together. And,
hey, I love my Strat. I love it.
So
man.
do I.
I fucking love it.
But I'm in no mood to buy another one right now, because I'm very happy with my Strat. But sometimes you got to go in a different direction, and I'm not organizing how to boycott or anything. But it's just kind of like, come on, man. You can do better than this. And
they can have my Strat when they take it from my cold, unlicensed hands. How about that?
Fender Ice.
I like it. Gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out with me. And
thank you, Seth.
Thank you.